Thursday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic. We're going to be attempting a puzzle from Lizzie01 called Snake in the City. Now, Lizzie01 is a brilliant setter of sudokus, but her puzzles, I think I've done a few of them on the channel over the years, have always been very, very hard. This one has a 100% rating apparently on Logic Masters Germany, but only 4 stars out of 5 for difficulty, so maybe it will be doable. We shall see. I've had to dust off the skyscrapers animation that Chain Bear, many of you all know Chain Bear, he's a Formula 1 YouTube channel and Twitter account, but Chain Bear made us a skyscrapers animation which I use for explaining the rules of skyscrapers puzzles, and that seems to be important for this one because they seem to be involved. Anyway, I'll get to the rules of this in just a second. There was something I wanted to mention first. No, two things. Now, what were they? Oh, they've gone out of my head. No, this is a nightmare. I don't want to have to pause the video to remember. I know that the Patreon reward, you've still got till the 20th in order to get your solutions to us. So I think we're over 1,700 correct solutions already, which is fabulous. But if you are still working on it, you've only got 3 more days left to get your solutions in. Now, what was the other thing? That's really going to bug me if I can't remember. Oh yeah, no, I have remembered. Mark has released a bonus video today. All around Wordle. So Mark, for those who don't know, Mark is doing a daily shorts video, which is a video that has to be less than 60 seconds long, on Wordle, where he attempts to do it in under a minute each day. And today he's done a video for the main channel where he does Wordle, Squirtle, I don't know, Octurdle or something, various iterations of Wordle in which he has to do an awful lot of Wordles in a very short amount of time. So if you like your Wordle, then there's a whole family of Wordles to watch today. It's a 12-minute video and there's probably about 30 Wordles done in the 12 minutes. So good stuff, and we hope you enjoy that. Now, I can't remember I still think there's another thing I was meant to tell you about, but I can't remember what it was. I hope it's not somebody's birthday I've forgotten to mention. Oh yeah, although I will say that today I am feeling a little bit delicate. I did go out in London last night. I did not meet any people who are viewers of Cracking the Cryptic, so my ambition is still there to be fulfilled. But I did have a little bit to drink, and so yes. I don't know how that's going to affect my solving. Probably not in a good way, but we shall see. Here are the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Shade some cells to form a snake, brackets, a one cell wide path that does not branch, cross itself or touch itself orthogonally. It can touch itself diagonally. So let's just stop there. I think that means we've got to build a snake that could, for example, look like this. And what it can't do, having done this, is it can't come up and take those 2 cells, because if it did, you can see the snake is meeting itself here, and that's not allowed. The snake can never touch itself orthogonally. Now what it could do, on the other hand, is that, because here it touches itself but only at a point, and that seems to be legitimate. The snake consists entirely of odd digits, and its head and tail are given by the grey circles. So that's these 2 cells. These must be the head and tail. Clues outside the grid are skyscraper clues that ignore any snake cells in their row column, i.e. each digit that is not snake indicates the height of a building in that cell. Clues indicate the clues will be the clues outside the grid, indicate the number of buildings that can be seen in their row or column from the side of the clue, where higher buildings obscure the view of lower buildings. Now, if that sounds baffling to you, Chain Bear will come to our rescue, because look, watch this. Let me press play. Thanks so much, Chain Bear, for making this. I'm just going to pause it there so you can see in this grid, which is a grid without the snake consideration, each digit corresponds with a building. So the 5 is higher than the 4, it's higher than the 2, the 9 is the highest building. And from this side, you can see, from this side, the clue would be a 5, because the 2 is seen, The 4 is seen, the 5 is seen, the 1 and the 3 are not seen, they're obscured by the 5. Then the 7 sort of towers over the 5, the 9 is the highest of all, so you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buildings, and the 6 and the 8 are obscured by the 9. And then if you look at this from the other side, the clue on the other side of the grid for this would be just a 2, because that's, 2. 8 and the 9 are seen, and that's all. So that's how skyscrapers work. Now, obviously in this grid, there is an additional complication, because there's going to be a snake going through the grid. Let's just draw a snake in. Let's imagine, I've forgotten to do the head and the tail, but hopefully you can forgive me. Let's imagine this was the snake. Then this 2 clue is only applying to those cells. So we would have to make sure, for example, if we made that a 9 and that a 6, that would work for this 2 clue. Because ignoring the snake, the 6 would have height 6, the 9 is the tallest of all, so the skyscraper clue from this direction is a 2, and that would work. Wow, maybe that will be proved to be correct. That would be serendipitous indeed. Now, hang on, let me get rid of all that. Now, there's still some more rules. We've got a long rule set today. Digits separated by an X sum to 10. So this domino sums to 10, this domino sums to 10. In fact, loads of dominoes sum to 10. Digits separated by a V sum to 5. We've got 2 such dominoes there. So if this was a 1, this could be a 4, for example. And not all X's and V's are necessarily given. Okay, so that's saying that, imagine this was a 1 and this was a 4. That's absolutely fine. The fact that there's no V between these 2 digits doesn't matter. All we're being told is positive information about these dominoes. We're not being told about any other domino in the grid, and whether or not that adds up to 5, it could or it could not. You takes your choice. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. Now, the snake is made up of odd digits, so we're going to have some sort of colour scheme here, aren't we? I normally use orange for odd digits, but I'm just thinking that's not going to work, is it? Because no, hang on, I'm just going to check the instructions. The snake consists entirely of odd digits. Yeah, I was just wondering, does that mean... For a moment, I wondered whether we were saying that the snake consisted of all the odd digits, but we're not saying that. We're saying that the snake has to move through odd digits, but it doesn't necessarily have to take all of the odd digits. So although I could label these cells as orange, and that would be sensible in a way, there could be orange cells in the grid, i.e. odd digits, that are not on the snake. So I'm going to have another colour to tell me about the snake digits. So maybe I won't make these orange yet. Now, what on earth do we do to start this? You see, that's really interesting. If that 4 clue, if the snake was just constrained to all the odd digits, then this 4 clue would be massively powerful, because it would be telling us that the even digits in this row had to be arranged 8, 6, 4, 2 in some order in order to complete the 4 clue. Same would be true in that column. We'd have to have 8, 6, 4, 2 in some order. But I don't think that is what the rules say quite. I don't think the snake consists entirely of odd digits. It doesn't say all of the odd digits form a snake. So I think I've got to get that. Sorry, I think I've got to get that out of my head. What would be very amusing would be if the puzzle, if that was the snake. If that was the snake, then we just have a load of skyscraper clues. These would be odd digits, these would be even digits, and it would be quite amusing. There's probably some reason that's immediately disprovable, but I can't see what that is either. Right, so do we have to look for... None of these skyscraper clues are opposite one another. Literally none of them. Often that can be a way to start skyscrapers, because, you know, if you had a 4 here and a 5 here, that would be suggestive of the position of the 9 at least. Although 9 here is not... Oh, I've got to get this out of my head. 9 in this puzzle can... Yeah, well, it might be on the snake, but it might not. So this is the only... Well, it's not actually the only, but that cell there seems to be under some pressure, because it has to be... If that's snake, then it's a corner that's snake, so it's odd, which means that x's would both be odd. Yeah, in fact, that would be forced to be the... If this is a snake, because the snake can't touch itself, so let's just think about that. If this is snake, these are forced because these are the tails and head of the snake. So the snake would have to do this. It couldn't take that, so the snake would get forced into those cells, and that actually looks quite reasonable to me, because you can make an X domino. Whenever you have an X in a domino, you know the parity of both cells is the same. So this could be both odd, this could be both odd, and that would seem to be quite legitimate. So the question I think we need to ask then is, why is this square snake? So if it's not snake, what are we saying about the 1 and the 3 clue? We're saying that if it's not snake, again, it sort of depends, doesn't it, on what's... Well, I suppose what we can say is that there must be an 8 in column 9. There must be. It's a sudoku. There will be an 8 in column 9. And the 8 is definitely not on the snake. So if this was not on the snake, it could be an 8, provided that the 9 in the column was on the snake. So if this is not on the snake, it can be an 8. But what about... Yeah, it can also be a 9 actually, can't it? It could be a 9 that's not on the snake, and that would complete the 1 clue. But it can't be anything else. If it's off the snake, I'm just going to use blue for off the snake for a moment. If it's off the snake and we try to make it a 7, that definitely doesn't work, because there's definitely an 8 in this column that's off the snake somewhere, and therefore this clue couldn't be 1. So this is either 8 or 9, and that's impossible because of the 3 clue. Because whether this is 8 or 9, if it's off the snake, the 3 clue's impossible. You could go 8, 9 somewhere in the row, but that should only lead to 2 skyscrapers being seen. So that's the trick. Right, that's the trick about this cell. This cell cannot be off the snake. So it's on the snake, and by being on the snake, you have to continue the snake's path. So the snake is definitely odd. So these are definitely odd, but they're not only odd, they are snaky odd. Now, okay, I'm going to make them yellow as well. So we're going to have orange is for an odd digit, and yellow will be a snake digit. So I'm going to make these yellow and orange because these are both of those things. Now this square now is, I was about to say it's even, but it might not be even. It might be odd, but off the snake. Oh, so I'm going to have another colour. I'm going to use green. So green is going to be off the snake, but I don't know its parity. Now, these two now have to be on the snake. So they are yellow and oranged. So this is blue. No, I know it looks green. It's blue. Because in box 9, there are 5 odd digits to be placed. The numbers 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9. And they are on the snake now. So these squares are not only not on the snake, but they are even. Which means they're all blue. Which means these 2 squares are now snake. I love this sort of thing. This is just so... It just feels like you're putting together a jigsaw. A very clever jigsaw. So now I've decided that orange and yellow are the colours of snake. I can orange yellow those. Now, in row 9, I've got 5 odd digits. So they're all even digits off the snake. So that must be a snake. And... so this domino here has the same parity. So if it's even, no, I was about to say the snake would have to do that, but it wouldn't. If it's even, the snake would have to do that. But these 2, although they're odd, don't have to be on the snake, Simon. When will you get it into your brain? Right, so that's snake for sure. Because this snake has to continue. It's got to find its way to either the head or the tail. This is a 1. All of these are on the snake, so these are irrelevant. And this is a 3. Right, this is interesting. Right, the bottom row. Oh, no, this is interesting. I can place a digit. That's an 8. Right, and the reason it's an 8 is that this 3 is a skyscraper clue, but it's only counting the even digits in the row, because all of the odd digits are on the snake, so don't count for the skyscraper. So that means we've got to make sure that 8, which is the highest skyscraper, isn't too close to the right hand side. So the 8 can be in neither of those cells, but the 8 can't be there, because if it is, it's breaking the 4 clue beneath it. The 4 clue should only be a 2 clue at maximum, assuming the 9 in this column was not snake. So that's not 8. So this is 8, and we have a digit. Now, does that mean this has to be... no, I was about to say, does it have to be not 6? But maybe it can be 6. If this was 6, to complete the 4 clue, there would have to be a 7, 8 and 9 in this column, all of which were off the snake. But that might be possible, actually. This can't be a 6. So the 6 is in one of those 2 cells. I don't really want to pencil mark that. Right, okay. Bother. Well, we got a digit anyway, that's good. V clues might be interesting from a snake perspective, because only one side of a V clue can be odd. Because obviously the total of the domino is 5. 5 is an odd number, so to make an odd number out of 2 cells, you must add an even and an odd number together. So at least one of the cells on a V domino is not snake. So my phone started doing buzzing. Okay, that's great. This is a 1 clue. So does that affect? I'm just wondering whether I can prove whether this square is... If that's... Oh, actually, it's simple. Right. Ignore skyscrapers, just think about snake and the number of odd digits in column 9. If that's snake, the snake would have to take those cells, and that would imply there are 6 odd digits in column 9, which is nonsense. So that is not snake. And that's, we can just keep extending that logic. If this was snake, it would do this, and that would put 6 digits in column 9. So we can keep doing this. It's iterative. That still can't be snake. So Oh, but that can be because I'd only need one more, because this one's already in. I can have a corner like that. How strange. Right, so this, no, I don't know the parity of these. This is such an interesting puzzle. It really is. Okay. So I know this cell is off the snake and therefore contributing to this skyscraper clue. So this is part of the 4 clue. This clue is a 1. Oh, right. So it's the same as this. Oh, for goodness sake, Simon. Right, yes. This clue is where we need to look next. Because if that is not snake, what is it? If it's not snake, it needs to be a very high number, because there is going to be an 8 in this column. So if the 8 was down here and this was not, so if this was, let's imagine this was not snake. So if this is not snake, in order for this 1 clue, this must be the highest number seen in the non-snake cells in this column. So it must be at least an 8. But that's already broken it, because even if it's 8 or its other option, which would be to be 9, the 4 clue is now impossible, because we can have 1 scene size skyscraper here, we can see an 8 here, we can see a 9 somewhere in the row. That's only a count of 3. So this square here is snake, and if it's snake, it's in a corner, so those cells are also snake. This is very clever. Now that's now green, because otherwise the snake's touching itself, which means this square is snake, this square is snake. Mavericks flying past. I'm not surprised. It's a very beautiful day today in England. Feels like spring might finally have sprung. So now what does this mean? The answer to that is I don't know. I can see that if we carry on going with this, we then have to turn out of column 8, because we'd have done, if we take this square as snake, we've now got 5 snake cells in the column, so these would both be even and the snake would have to turn. Which I'm not sure whether that's a problem or not. It almost feels like it's a problem with this. Oh, no, that, hang on, I'm talking total, well, I'm not talking, I've only just understood. Right, there is a problem here. I've got to connect these 2 up to each other. So the question we should be asking, I think, is how do we do that? Yes, this can't be snake. If that's snake, how do I connect this up to this? Given I can't, this is stranded. It can't now exit column 9, because at the moment it comes out of column 9, it hits a column that's already had all its odd digits taken. So this square is not snake, so that's green, and this square is snake, and that puts 5 snake cells in box 3, which means those cells must all be even digits, because these, we know snake cells are odd. Now, what does that do? So now wow, okay. okay, now this square is not snake. And the reason this square is not snake is ridiculously beautiful. Now, why is this square not snake? If this square is snake, then this square is snake. And so far, you might think so good, but it's not. Because now I've got 5 snake cells in column 8 and 5 snake cells in column 9. So the non-snake cells in column 8 are all even digits, and the non-snake cells in column 9 are all even digits. But how are we going to make the ones work then? Well, from this one's perspective, this will have to be the highest even digit in its column. That's an 8. And from this one's perspective, this one will have to be the highest even column in its highest even digit in its column, which is also an 8, and you'll get 2 8s, and that won't work. So that means that this square is, you've guessed it, green, which means the snake comes here. That is 5 odd digits in the column, so these 2 cells are now even. Oh, this is getting very strange. So now there is an odd digit. Oh, I see. Yeah, this is it's beautiful, this puzzle. Right, look at column 8. I know that the skyscraper's count is counting even digits only because all of the odd digits are snake digits. So this has to be the highest even digit in order to make sure the only skyscraper seen is this cell. That's fine. We don't know the order of these. But now, what's that done in this column? Well, it's put an 8 up here. But this 8 must, because these 2 cells they are skyscrapers. They are seen by this one clue. One of these must be even. It must be, because we need 4 evens in the column, and it will be lower than 8. So that's breaking this clue. So the only way to make this clue work is if the 8 is not seen in the column. And for the 8 not to be seen in the column, there must be a 9 in one of these 2 cells. Now if the 9 is here, this cell will be seen. So the 9 is not there, and the 9 is here. So that cell is therefore odd, but not snake, and this cell has become even. And that cell is not an 8, because that will break this 4 clue. This is ridiculous. Right, now what? So now my snake has to come over here. Well done, snake. So I've now got 4 snake cells in this column. So these can't connect using this domino. One of these cells could be snake, but only one of them. Which might be important. We've also got to be a bit careful about creating some sort of ringy snake here. That obviously would not be a snake that had this as its head and this as its tail. So I'm just wondering whether the snake can go to this cell. If it goes to there, we have to keep this snake away from it. And we can't take this domino, so we have to go there. Now, aha! There you go. Beautiful. This is beautiful. Right. Look at column 6. We have 3 odd digits in it at the moment. So, and our cap is 5. So if we take this as snake, you can see that now we can't make a ring. So we've got to move up from the snake here. That gives us 5 odd digits in column 7, so the snake must move out. This makes column 6 quadrate with regard to snake cells. It has 5 odd digits in it, so there can be no more snake. But that means, where does this go? This is not connected to any friends, and it needs to, so it has to go there and create a 6th odd digit in the column. And that won't work. So this square is greened. We don't know what parity it is, but we know it's not snake, which means the snake moves here. Now I know the parity of this cell. I don't know whether it's snake or not yet, but it must, because it's a 10 domino, it must have the same parity as its friend here. Now, so it's not, the snake is not a line in column 1. So if the snake, hang on, yeah, if this is snake, that's all the snake digits in row 8, so we'd have to go up, up. We can't hit this, so we'd have to go here. Then we couldn't go up, because if this was snake, this with the cell above it would be even, and the snake would finish. Well, not finish, but we'd have the whole of the bottom of the snake figured out if this is snake. But if this is not snake, we can come up here. And that, I don't know if that's problematic or not. I can't immediately see why that breaks. Oh dear. Okay, so where do we look next? The whole right hand side, I think, is quite constrained at this point because we've already got 4 in this column. So if this was snake, that would be 5 in the column. We'd have to go here. That would be, then we'd have to go here because we've already got 5 in this column. Now I've got 5 in column 6, so column 6 is done. So everything now has to just extend sideways. And 1, 2, and we could actually just close it like that. Okay, I'm sorry, I can't see why that fails. Okay, so how do we do this then? Can we disprove it the other way? If this was, so this segment here is either taking this cell or this cell. I couldn't see why it broke if it took this cell. If it takes that cell, that forces that one to be in. I've taken 4 in this column now and 4 in this column now. So what's the issue with that? Indeed, is there an issue with that? Maybe not. I'm not so sure. I can't quite see how to disprove or prove either of these 2 options. Maybe this square, is that possible to take? That's getting quite close to taking a ring, isn't it? Which we mustn't take. So if we take that cell, that's pushed down. That breaks very quickly. Okay, so this is the next cell I should have focused on. That can't be snake. And that's because we've now got to avoid a ring. So this is forced down, completing our quorum for column 7, forcing both of these over, and now I've got 6 odd digits in column 6. Wow, wow. So this square here is now green, which means this has to come across. The problem with that is, what's that actually done? What has that actually done? Can I assume anything about the parity of these? I don't think I can. Has that affected? Has that affected any of the logic that I was doing before when I was looking at the... I sort of feel like this is a difficult... Maybe I can rule out Actually, I didn't check this one. I checked that one. I didn't check this one. So if this snake segment comes up and turns that way, that has to do that. That's completed our quota of odds for column 6. So we then have to come across here. That forces this one. Oh, we're getting close to problems here. We've now got all our odd digits in row 1, so that would be forced. Now we can't have this touching, so that would be forced. And the problem with that is that looks like it's not that unreasonable to me. Okay. I know what I can do. I've got 4 odd digits in row 1 now, so that square, this corner square, can't be snake, because if it's snake, I have to rotate the snake around the corner, and I'd have 6 odd digits in row 1. So that's green, and then I extend that logic again. It's a bit like this column. Now this can't be snake. Again, I'd have to do that, so that's not snake. Same again, that's not snake. So these 3 digits are not snake. But this one could be snake, or the snake could turn, and then this one would never be snake. Oh, and this makes sense, look, with the for clue. So now I have got 4 open cells in this row, which I'm always going to have, I suppose, because the evens are always going to be open cells. So is this affecting column 1 somehow? No. No. I could still have this. Yeah, I could have a snake that did that sort of thing. Oh no, I couldn't. Hang on. No, hang on. Is this a problematic cell now? Yes, I think it is. If that's snake, I have to do that. That's 5 cells in column 1. So I have to get out of column 1 now, and that forces the snake to touch itself. Naughty snake. So this square is green. But the weird thing is, although that square is green, this one could be snake, because we could do that, and that keeps the count down to 5, providing this comes out. Oh, how strange. This one can't come out, though, because I've got 5 snake thingies in row 8, so those are green. In fact, they're not only green, they're blue, because we've got all the snake segments in... we've got 5 snake segments in row 8, so now that square's got to be snake. And now I can't take this square, because that's going to force 6 into the column. Okay, so now I've got at least one of these cells in this V pentomino is an odd digit, because they can't all be even. Oh, and because this is definitely snake over on the right hand side of the grid, this is now not snake, otherwise we have got a little short stubby snake, and therefore this square is snake. And oh, this is lovely. Right, and now I can use my V trick. This is now odd, so this is even and not snake, which forces the snake over again. No. Bobbins. So this one could be snake, and the snake would just do that. Or this one could be snake, and then the snakes would have to go upwards twice, because I'd be core 8 on row 6, so we'd have to go up again. Then I'd have to get out of column 5, because that would be full. So I could do that, perhaps. Although, no, that doesn't work. Hang on, this doesn't work. Yeah, okay, I think we can disprove this option. So is it possible for the snake to come to this cell? That's the question I want to ask. And the answer is no, because you can see if it does take this cell, we've got 5 odd digits now in row 7, so the snake must escape. So it has to go vertical. Now we've got 5 odd digits in row 6, and again a problem, so I have to go vertical again. And the moment I do that, this is broken, because now this has nowhere to go. It needs to... Oh, no, I'm wrong. No, well, I'm not wrong, but I've miscounted. I'm still right, because now this has to get out, of this row, so it must go up. And now what's its next move? We're complete on column 7, so it has to go here, but that makes a 6th odd digit in row 5. That's not easy. That's definitely not an easy step, at least not for me. But that means this square is green, and if that square is green, the snake must take this square, which makes that square yellow, which forces the snake there, and the snake is now closed in the bottom part of the grid, which means these two squares must be green, because otherwise we have a snake touching itself. Naughty. So now what do we do? What is the next step here? So if this was snake, that would force the snake to do that, which would probably be fine, actually. I can see a few ways that might work. So this might well be snake. Okay. Can we do anything with the skyscrapers clues now to sort of help us understand how everything is moving? Well, it may be possible. I'm not seeing immediately how to do that. This is an even digit, and it's on a V, so that's a 2 or a 4. This is a 1 or a 3. It doesn't get a song, but that's a 5. That's an odd digit, and it's not. You can't put a 5 on an X clue, so that's because you'd have to repeat the 5. So that is a 5. That's the world's most useless digit, isn't it? This domino is not a 1-9 domino, so that's a 3-7 domino, which means this is a 1-9 domino. This digit is now a naked single. It's odd, and it sees the other 4 odd digits, so that's a 1. So these are from 3, 5, and 7. Oh, this is nice. Yeah, look at this. This is an odd domino that's not a 3-7, so it's a 1-9. So now 9 is in one of those two cells. Now, oh no, it's fine for the 9 to be here, because if the 9 is there, it's not seen by the 4 because it's on a snake. Okay. So these two squares are a 3-7 pair in the bottom row. These squares are 3s, 5s, and 7s. So we are sort of squeaking out a little bit of sudoku here. But having said that, we're still faced with the challenge of understanding how to finish the snake off. Now, how can we do this? That is the question I'm asking myself, and I haven't got a very good answer, I'm afraid. There must be a way of working out. So if the snake goes here, what's that telling us? Then this is going to take up the last cell in this column. So that's going to force the snake over there. It's getting awfully tricky. It's really constrained, but I can't prove it's impossible to do any of these things. So there must be something else that I'm not understanding here. What is that? Is it going to be... Oh! No, that's fine. Oh, sorry, I thought I'd got the wrong... I thought I got an interesting count of non-snake cells, but I don't at all. That's absolutely fine for that to do that. Can I do something with this stuff here? So there must be actually at least 2 cells in box 1 that are odd and not snake, because even if I maximize the snake now in box 1, I could do that, but this cell couldn't be snake and would therefore be green, and they can only make 4 of the green cells blue. So 2 of them would have to be orange. Okay, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. I can... How do we do this? I can only take one of these. So these two sort of snake ends here, each has to come into this column, and that's going to complete this column when that happens. And in doing that, however I do that, the snake is then going to have to just continue straight on into this column, isn't it? Because once this column is complete, we can't close the snake. We can't simultaneously sort of drop in here, and then close the snake, because that's going to be a 6th odd digit in this column. So there's going to be sort of a line of snake. Wherever these turn, if this turns here, it has to do that. And if this takes that cell, it would have to do that. That one feels like it's the most likely to me. But feeling and being logically true are different things. We've also got to be a bit careful about managing to get this up here somewhere to connect. It's going to connect to that, isn't it? So I can't take too much real estate over. If I do that one, I have to do that. Oh. Ah, right. Aha, I have something. So what I've been missing is this X clue, I think. I don't think this line segment, or not line segment, this snake segment is valid. And let me show you why. This is not easy to see, but I think I now have understood something. If I take this line segment, I have to take this line segment now, because we're core 8 in column 7, so I have to take this one. I'm now core 8 in column 6, so I have to take this one, and I have to take this one. And now look what's happened. This is really beautiful, because now this cell is orange, and that means we're core 8 for column 5. And why does this matter? Well, if it means this has to come here, and that is so important, because now how do we not make a ring in the top? We have to. We're going to connect, and that's broken the puzzle. So that means I can greenify this, and that means this square is snake. So now, how has that helped me? Has it actually done anything? So I need to do that. I need to somehow do that again, don't I? Maybe we could rule this out using exactly the same trick. So if that's snake, in fact, no, it's easier. That simply is not snake, because if that's snake, I've completed my odd digits for this column, and this is stranded. So this is green, which means that the snake comes into these cells. Now row 6 is all snakified, or it's all, the snake is on all of the odd digits, so all of the rest of the row are even digits. So now Now I've already got... Yeah. No, or maybe not. Yes, yes. How does this become snake now? It can't be, because again, now I've got all my snake for column 6, so the snake has to come here. But then I've got all my snake for column 5, so again I have to take this cell and I'm going to get an annulus in the top of the grid rather than a snake. And I mustn't do that. That's just nonsense. So that means that this is never snake, and therefore it's green, and therefore the snake does that and then connects there. There we go. We've done it. So now we can greenify all those cells. They're orthogonally connected to the snake. In fact, we can do much better than that. That's 5 odd digits in this box, so those turn blue. Now that's therefore orange, but we don't know whether it's snake or not. We've got 5 snake pieces that are orange digits in column 5. So the rest of this column is all bluified, which forces the snake over. Which forces the snake up here, where... I don't know, it's probably going to take this cell, but I don't think we know it's going to take this cell. I've got 5 odd digits on snake in column 6, so all of those get bluified. What about that digit? That's got to be one, yes, that's got to be blue. We've got 5 snake digits in box 6. So actually, oh, now that's got to be green. No, orange. Well, you know what I mean, green and orange. It's definitely odd because I've got 4 even digits in the row, and it's definitely not snake, so it gets greened rather than yellowed. Okay, are we actually 51 minutes so far? It's quite difficult, this, isn't it? I'm not sure. I think it is quite difficult. It's fascinating, but hopefully you're all not telling me how slow I'm being. Okay, so what do we do next? We have got to grow our snakes. Don't laugh. We've got to grow our snakes in a manner that allows... those 2 cells are orange in this row. I don't know whether they're snake or not, but I've got all even digits in that row. So those are orange. Oh, good grief. Right. I should have used this a bit harder because that's... this is orange, and those 3 are orange. So that's all the orange digits in this column, which implies all of these cells are actually blue. I've got, yeah, and look, these are both blue as well because I've got 5 orange in row 1. So that's all my even digits for box 1 done. So the rest of this box is orange. I've done all my even digits in this box, so these are orange. I've got this big expanse of orange here, but I don't know whether it's green orange or yellow orange. But that square's snake, because the snake has to escape from its head here. So the snake could go... The snake's actually got loads of different ways it can close. Row 1. Let us use our skyscraper knowledge. This is a 4 clue, so that, and it's only seeing even digits, so we can just write them in. 8, 6, 4, 2. So that's a 2 by sudoku. And this is now a 2 or a 4 by sudoku. No, it's not. It's a 4 by sudoku because there's a 4 there ruling 4 out of those cells. So that's 4, that's 2, that's 3, that's 7, that's 3. And are we going to have one of these puzzles where, in fact, we can do more of this, where we sort of have to, we've got 2 sudokus going on in effect now. We've got an odd sudoku and an even sudoku being simultaneously solved. Now that's got to be an 8, I think, and which means these cells are a 4, 6 pair. This square is a 2 or a 4, that square is a 1 or a 3 using the V dot. 2 is in, yeah, 2 is in one of these cells by sort of strange even digit sudoku, which means 2 is placeable in box 5, which places a 3 on its V, which probably does some magical things. Oh, right, hang on. I've got a problem here, but it might be okay. I've got a 4 in this column. Oh, well, that's a skyscraper clue. And then 8 quite low down in the column. So, so this can't be 9. Well, that's one of the things we can deduce there. Because if this is 9, this skyscraper clue could only see 3 as a maximum. So that's not 9. But more than that, in fact, that's 5 now. Look, this is all getting resolved. I've now got a 1-3 pair to place in that column. But more than that, we now know there's a 9 in this column that is towering over the 8 and not snake. Because if there wasn't, the 8 would be the highest digit and this clue couldn't be higher than 3. So there is a 9 in one of those. Oh, it's not there. It's in one of those 3 cells. And it's not on the snake. Which I'm sure it will matter somehow, but I can't immediately see how to do that. This square's a 4 or 6 by sudoku. 8 is in one of those 2 cells. Okay. 4? No. Sorry, I'm just trying to see if I can do more by sudoku here. I probably can, but I can't quite get it resolved. There's a 2 in one of those. Oh, 8 is in one of these 2. So 8 is not here. So this is an 8 by sudoku. So this is a 2 or a 6. Okay, so it must be something to do with skyscraper clues. Or is it to do with snake? Or is it just... No, the snake's got too many different ways to go. So... Oh, hang on, I've got a problem here as well. This 3 clue. Ah! How is that going to work? These are not counted. This isn't seen. This is... So this 3 clue sees that cell, definitely, and sees the 8. But then the 8, this digit, is a 4 or a 6. So it's not towering over the 8. So this... One of these 2 cells is seen by the 3 clue. And it must be lower than 8, but higher than whatever I put in this cell. So does that mean it's got to be an odd digit that's seen. So it's a 5 or a 7 in one of these 2 cells that's seen. Just 9 is in one of those 2 cells as well. That's very bad. So there's a 9 in one of these 2 cells that must be unseen by the skyscraper clue. So it's on the snake. So there's a 9 in one of these that's on the snake. But I thought hang on, what did I say about 9 in this column? There's a 9 in this column that's off the snake as well. Oh, this is going mad. So there's a 9 in this column that's off the snake because it needs to be seen by the 4 clue. But there's a 9 in this domino that's on the snake. So if this is a 9, it's on the snake, which means that this 4 clue is impossible. So that is not a 9. This is a 9, and it's on the snake, which means that this is off the snake. Now this cell is off the snake, because this 3 clue needs to see another number. So that's green, which means this is on the snake. Now in this column, I've got a 3 clue, and the 9 is not seen because it's on the snake. So I've got 1, 2, I need to see a 7, and where does the 7 go in order to be seen? It must go here, which is amazing, because it pushes this has got to be off the snake, otherwise it wouldn't be seen by the 3 clue. That pushes the snake here. Oh, this is so clever, honestly, this is ridiculous. Now, remember this column needs a 9 that is seen by the 4, so is off the snake. So how could this snake go to this cell? There would not be a cell up here, because the 9 in this column is in one of those 2 cells. So if this is snake, there's no unseen 9, and there must be, well, there's no none snake 9. So the snake must take the 3, and this must be a 9 off the snake. That is quite unbelievable setting, honestly. Now this 3 is giving me this digit, so that's a 1. So these 2 squares are a 1-5 pair, which we can fill in. So that's a 5 by Sudoku. This is a 3-7 pair. This must be a 1 or a 5, and it's a 1 by Sudoku. So this is a 5. That's giving me a 1 and a 9 and a 7. So these 2 squares are 5 and 9. And these 2 squares are 1 and 3. And these 2 squares are 7 and 9. Oops. Okay. And my snake is now complete. Dum 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 nori nori. That's a very, very handsome snake. Now we've admired the snake's glory, we have to think about how to actually do the rest of the puzzle. Is it going to be, well, okay, I can start down here, can't I? This 4 clue, how could this be 6? 1, 2, 3. It can't be, so that's the 2, that's the 6, that's the 2, so that's a 2. These are a 4-6 pair now. And this is a 4 or a 6. So this is a 2 and an 8. So now we can ask, oh, we already knew where 2 went in column 4. This is a 4 and a 6. That's a 4-6 pair, so that will have to be the 8. So this is a 4 or a 6. There's going to have to be some skyscraper clue. Oh, we've got a 1 here, so this is 3 and 7. I don't believe it. It doesn't do anything. I don't believe it. Well, I suppose it gives me this digit as a 9. Maybe it does do something. Yeah, okay, that gives me a 9 and a 5 at the top. So that's got to be a 1 by Sudoku, and that's got to be a 5. And this is a 3 or a 7. And I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so it's going to be something to do with this 2 clue, isn't it? And where the 8 goes in this column, I think, because this 2 clue is just counting even digits. So if that was a 2, you'd have to put the 8 here, and this would be a 4 or a 6, and I can't see why that fails. This 1 clue is done. Oh, it must be Sudoku. I think it must be Sudoku I've not done properly. Let's have a think about Sudoku. So this 4 clue is done. This 3 clue is seeing 6, 7, and not 8. No, 8, but not 9. That should be greened. That's a seen skyscraper clue. Oh. So 2, 6, 8. So this 3, 7 doesn't get resolved by that. Ah. But this 3 clue does help us, doesn't it? Because whether this is 4 or 6, this clue needs to be seen and wouldn't be seen if this was 3. So that's 7, that's 3, that's 3, that's 7. Which means this is a 5, 7, this is a 3, that's a 3, that's a 1, that's a 1, that's a 9, that's a 9, that's a 7, that's a 7, that's a 5. Good grief. So there you go, that's the odd bits done. Now, does that actually tell us what this digit is, though? I'm not sure it does. It still seems to be able to be 4 or 6. Which is weird. Okay, so this is 4 or 6. So there must be... Is it a V clue I've not used, or an X clue? Or a skyscraper clue, or a sudoku clue. It's going to be one of these things that hopefully will allow us to understand the puzzle. This 3 clue is what it's going to be. I've not done that properly down here. So we must go 4 here and 6 here to make the 3 clue work. And that hopefully will give us an in on the rest of the puzzle. Yes, 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 yes. 6 here now. Okay, now that's become a 6. So these become 4 and 8. And these become 4. The only place for 6 in this row is here. This becomes a 4 or an 8. Whoops. So this should be 2 or 8. And this, I think it's going to be this 2 clue that's going to finally explain the world to us. So let's check this out. So we've got... Now, let's think about this. So if, here we go. If this was a 2, then you can see this will be an 8 and this will be a 4, and this column will go 2, 4, 6, 8 and not be a 2 clue. So this must be the 2, which means that we've now got a 4, 8 pair. We place the 2 here, the 8 here. No, I've got a deadly pattern. I've broken it. How? No. I haven't got a deadly pattern. Oh, thank goodness for that. Oh, that was one of the worst ever. I couldn't understand what I'd done wrong there, and yet it's plainly looking deadly. But is this 2 clue again? Thank goodness. You can't put the 8 in the first position, so it does go 4, 8, 8, 4. Thank you, Lizzie, for not leaving me with a deadly pattern at the end of that. That would have been disastrous. Now I know what I could do. Actually, maybe I should have done this from the start. I can draw the snake using the pen tool. Boom, 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 boom. Yay! 1 hour 7 minutes, or 1 hour 8 minutes ticks over. That's a pretty hard puzzle, though, I think. It's very, very interesting. There is so much cleverness from the setter in terms of how... I mean, just to come up with the idea of constructing that is one of these baffling thoughts that I never understand. You know, how can a constructor be sitting at home and think, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a snake puzzle using skyscrapers and odd digits, but the odd digits may or may not be on the snake. I mean, it's a beautiful idea. I mean, you know, the sheer inventiveness of it, having even that seed thought, let alone the aplomb of executing it like this. It's stunning. It really is. And there were loads of beautiful ideas in this. We had to be very careful with our counts of odd numbers. And there may well have been some more elegant ways to shuffle through the snake positioning in this central area. But I think I did it logically, and I had a lot of fun doing it. So I hope you enjoyed watching. I hope you had a go at the puzzle. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.